I want to get started because there's a lot of really good stuff to cover today. And today's big focus is going to be about learning with Growth Day. I'd love to hear where you're currently at in the product and platform because today I'm actually going to spend a lot of time in the learn pillar. And I'm going to talk to you about our learning systems here at Growth Day. How many of you are right now learning something new, or you're trying to start something new and just starting a new practice, a new learning ability? I think it's really important to start thinking about, how you think about learning in general in your practice, like the way that you approach things, the way that you think about, you probably have heard like having a growth mindset. You probably are learning like continuous learning. And you're coming into a personal development app, you're more open than most to be learning new things. Yeah, always be learning. For me, it was like when I started learning that there was different levels of professionalism and different levels of quality, different levels of abilities that I could learn when stepping into pretty much anything that I want to do, whether it was sports, whether it was professional career and design, whether it was building products. Like there's so many things to learn, but the idea is like, how do we build better systems for learning? And then how do we integrate those systems of learning into our daily habits, into our weekly rhythms, into our monthly celebrations, and then maybe even to our mid-year and full year cycles when we looking for promotions at work. Like, what are we learning to evolve and to get better in our career as we're growing? So many things, right? It's pretty obvious. Like, we need to do these things. So today, what I want to do is I want to break those things down and show you how we've actually integrated that into the system of Growth Day, so that you don't have to like overanalyze. Like, am I learning the right things? Am I growing in the right areas? Because it's all here, but what we can do is know when you can tap into certain areas of training here in the platform. So Growth Day was designed to be a continuous learning system for you. Now we have the journal, we have life scores, we have plan, challenges, learn, and community. And obviously, like we're talking about learning today, but I would side the life scores. Like if I was to go over into life scores right now, like all of our current life score assessments are mapped to specific categories around high performance. The whole reason why we put in these top 10 categories when you're doing the monthly life score, so that you can have a foundational like overview of how you're progressing along these topics throughout the year. Now, when you're feeling like you're low, what's the number one thing that you can do when you're feeling a low in health, or feeling low in mental and emotional, or if you're feeling low in partner and love, family, friends, mission, experiences, spirit, finances, and learning? These are directly mapped to our learning content in the platform. So when you go through these assessments, you're going to get two different ways. You're going to get two different ways of learning in the moment. Because from what I've learned from working at like learning companies like lynda.com or LinkedIn, or even Growth Day, like when you're trying to teach somebody something, you want to be very contextual. You want to meet somebody where they're, and what we're doing here is we're trying to help meet you where you're at with your scores. So if you do get a low score, you can come into your recommendations. You can get those recommendations in line. But with life score recommendations, we might give you one or two recommendations. But if you want to go a little bit deeper, what you can do is you can head over into the learn pillar, and then you can start. And this is if you're a pro member, then you're going to have access to all the past replays and all the past workshops. So if I click view all here, if you guys want to follow along, if I hit view all, from here, you're going to see like all of the past topics and trainings from the system. Now, we pick the topics that we're going to discuss that tie back to core themes in personal development across the whole life assessments, our daily assessments, and our weekly assessments. And our weekly assessments are tied to the habit builder course, which I'll show you in a second. But what we have here is all of those topics that if you are struggling across any of those life scores, you can come back in and you can still filter by all of these topics. Now, what I want to do is I want to paste those in here for you. And I want you to copy and paste because there's 36 topics that we currently have in the platform. Just copy and paste that into your notes just so you are aware that these are all categories and topics that you have at your fingertips that you can go in and go super deep with 7 or 8 very specific trainings around those topics. And then you're going to get inside of each of these things. So if it's just to go to Brendan's latest training on uh, creating company culture, you can see the notes that he's shared across all of these things. So when you're going through and you're watching these, you can get more training and more awareness of like what these things are. If I go back and I was to go even to overcoming adversity with Trent, same thing's going to happen. I can still see like all of the notes are in here. So you can just go back in and read the notes, come back in and get some more of that training going in. It's just really important to know that like you have all the history of that training at your fingertips and available for you to learn. The same thing goes for if I was to come back to the learn pillar and then come in courses section, that same weekly assessments that I was talking about. So if you're really struggling with any of the weekly life score assessments around the high performance habits, that's when you can come back in and you can learn about those each of the pillars. So let me move this over here out of the way. And then over in the right sidebar, you have the core high performance habits, which again, these are all mapped to the weekly assessment that you do every week. Maybe it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday thing. And you can come in and go through each of these topics. Now, it's not going to let me play the video because I'm inside of a growth group. It's going to probably tell me, yep, see, you're currently in that. But the thing is, sorry, let me go back. But what you will like to know is like when you are learning, what we've learned is through taking notes, and that's why notes is one of the one of the core pillars in how we help you learn and how we help you train is that you can have these notes like in line and you can take these notes along your training. So if you are a starter, pro, or all access member, you all have access to this habit builder course. So I'll just paste this in here just in case you need a quick little link to go through here. The whole purpose of today is just really trying to help you remember that all of this information is at your fingertips. It's all inside the app. And like you already said in the chat, like learning is a continuous thing. Learning is a journey, but having this ability to be able to go back and retrain on things and repractice things and hear it and reanalyze it and go. There's some books that I just like to reread and re-listen to because I want to hear it from a different perspective because like maybe how I was like 2, 3 years ago is kind of different from who I am today. I've really grown, really evolved, and I want to be able to attain this information a little bit differently now that I'm the next version of Drew, the next version of myself. So I think that's really important. And then when you click into your notes, it will take you back to those timestamps so you can really revisit these things over time. I think it's just a really cool feature inside the GrowthDay app. So I would encourage you to check that out. Now, last week I was talking about like social learning and the benefits of having a social learning platform is that, okay, if you want to be super private about what you're learning, that's totally fine. But then when you want to be able to connect with other people that maybe are learning or going through the similar things, you can tap into that over in the comment section. The comments are public for anybody that's inside the GrowthDay app. So you can come in and learn with other people and comment back and forth with them. And then you still have the outline to be able to go back through and train on these things. So I think when you're feeling like you have a low score up in the life scores and just knowing that you have the ability to tap in, from a weekly review session, you can do the high performance habit builder. From a monthly whole life assessment, you can go back in and see the suggested recommendations, like just from clicking the recommendations to suggestions button. But you can also go back into the learn pillar and then you can come in and go to the past replays, all the content, right? Past replays, boom. And then you can click through these, or you can go in, sort by coach, or you can sort by topic. So coach all the coaches that have ever trained inside the platform. And then you can also see all the topics, right? Same thing. If I'm creating great friendships, then I can see all the filters of all the coaches from there. I can go into the content and just really get back into the notes. Every time we have a live coaching session, we take very detailed notes and they all end up back in the underneath the details of the video. And then you can still tap into comments if you wanted to do that. So another great option. Now, all of the past replays and the live content that we do on a weekly basis, that's your pro memberships are very aligned with like social learning and really trying to learn with other individuals as you're going through things. But what about the all access plan? I know some of you are in the all access plan, and that allows you to basically unlock the entire library. And unlocking the entire library gives you access to all of the courses. Now, we add courses every month. And specifically, like the last course that we added was the focus and discipline. Those are master classes. So these are basically comprised like replays that are no longer available on the platform. This allows you to go back in and get the specific notes and go super deep into each of those topics. Now, again, it's not going to play because I'm in a growth group. I'm on video with you right now, but you can come back in here and get all the notes, all the training, and if you're not an all access member, then these will be locked. And then you'll see once you click on the lock, it will just allow you to unlock it and pay for it. And then you can have it for the rest of the year. And that's your yearly subscription for all access. So if there's any questions there, please feel free to put in the chat. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have there. But you're already starting to see, like, when we do have these topics, like, we might have a general topic area like focus and discipline. Now, focus and discipline could go in many different directions for our 10 or so different coaches that go live about this subject. But think about what you're getting is 10 different perspectives about a topic. Now, that's the one thing that I love about learning in general is when you pick a topic or pick a topic, any topic, you're going to hear a lot of different perspectives on how to approach it. And I think one of those things is like you're going to find your coach or your instructor or your trainer that really resonates with you the most. And I think that's super natural and completely okay. If one coach you vibe with and another coach you don't necessarily vibe with, that's completely fine. But I think just knowing that you have these at your fingertips when you want to go deeper and learn deeper into these topics. And then if you want to go even an extra mile with connecting to the community and going in and doing more of the social learning side of growth, that's what I talked about last week. And that's also another compound effect to help you just grow faster, help you get those ahas a little bit quicker, to have a self reflection, like exposed a little bit more about, like, hey, I'm learning this topic, I'm learning this subject. This is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm hearing. This is what I'm observing from this training. And here are the things that I struggle with. And these are the things that I'm learning. Like just exploring and sharing some of those things can really just help expedite your growth and your learning. I mean, even if you're an influencer or you're trying to start a new company, exposing the needs that you have with learning can open the door for other relationships that you maybe didn't have before. So our taxonomy is very wide. Our taxonomy is basically all the types of content and topics that we have in the platform. There's so many other types of topics and categories that we have in here. So, like, for example, if you're struggling with communication and you want to hear how Larry King had done thousands of interviews with some of the greatest influencers in the world, and he's got 23 lessons or 23 videos here where he's talking and interviewing different people across the industry and just learning about what are some of the ways that they like to communicate. What are some of the challenges that they go through when it comes to communication? I love watching this course because it gives you, again, just like we're doing with our replays on our weekly live sessions, it's giving you different perspectives for how, one might approach communication. Like from Jewel to Lewis Howes to Roger Love to Dean Graziosi, and just keep the list goes on. And even he interviewed also Brendan in this as well. So another great opportunity for you to tap into that. And if I come back down even more, there's also the legacy content, which is a lot of the content that, from Brendan's vault training over the last 15 years we put into the platform. And, even just diving into, you can just keep going through each of these. And as you go through each content, you'll see this little progress bar down below. And this progress bar is essentially letting you know like you've watched and what you haven't watched. So if you're really trying to finish all of these sessions and you get this rewatch button and then you can keep going through and watching it. Some of these are audio courses, some of these are video courses. You can see if it's an audio course by the little headset that shows up down by the lessons. And if it doesn't have that, then it is just a regular course. There's also content around like leadership and around Brennan's 10 human drives work, Byron Katie doing other work, and you're learning in personal development, your growth here, and going through and watching these things multiple times and just knowing that you can come back to these anytime you want to be able to tap in and just get better and better. That's this learn pillar, right? We're going to continue evolving this learn pillar and keep bringing in more content for you. But I think it's just important to know what you have at your fingertips. So how do you know what you want to learn and what you want to grow in? How do you like, I just want to hear from the group and you can put it in the chat. Like when you start thinking about like things that you want to learn and things that you want to achieve, like the reason why you're here in Growth Day, what are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to learn? How do you actually go about doing that? That's your first question for today in today's growth group. You can put it in the notes, but if you're feeling like you want to share it in the chat, you can do that as well. How do you know? Okay. So some people are saying like they take step by step and yeah, you watch based on live scores. Makes sense. Makes total sense. And I know that some of you, it's a pretty big question. So just like taking it in and like, after today's session or after today's growth group, I just want you to think about like, how is your current system of growth and system of learning enabling you to accelerate your achievements? How is your current system of learning and system of growth accelerating the advancement of your growth? What are you currently doing? Right? You get weekly emails from all sorts of products and services. You get a weekly newsletter from us. You get weekly reminders about our Wednesday workshops. But the idea is like this year using Growth Day, I want to encourage you, because this is a growth group, I want to encourage you to level up your systems of growth. And that's what this whole growth group is about. Multiple series about it. Like I believe next week, like this week, last week was about social learning. Next week's going to be about high performance, building a high performance community. And I just want to reignite your ability to tap in to how you like to learn and how you actually really grow and learn something. You're not learning, it's taking something that you want to learn and using the entire year to learn it. Like, how might we as a group take what we want to learn and have it aligned to our project goals, to our priorities, to our life goals, the things that we put inside of our profile here, where we have like, I really want to achieve this life goal. I really want to achieve this thing. This is why I want to do this. Like, why do I want to do this? I really want you to really step into the systems of growth for you so that you can do this in not like a year time span, if that's what you're thinking, but maybe like cutting that into 1/4 of the time. Maybe instead of it taking 7 to 12 months to do, how could we do that in a month? Or how could we do that in a week? And how could we even like push it even more so you're optimizing your growth? So you're doing it in a day and you're really stepping into the things that you really want to learn. And I think it's like those little like mind shifts, that knowing that you can learn, you can grow, you can do these things, I think is what's super empowering about this platform, because it's organized intention. And when you have that organized intention, then you can go in and start learning and achieving more than what you had ever thought you could achieve and what you could do. So a couple things to think about when doing this. First things that like when you have these big ideas, these big learning goals, first thing that we got to do is we got to really align with our big why and our priorities. Like, what are we trying to do? Why is it important? Right? We talked about that last week, a little bit with social learning. But we also need to think about is when we're going to make learning a daily practice, or if you don't make it a daily practice, and right now it's like a monthly practice for you, but let's step into what that next version or next level of yourself is. And maybe it's like, okay, we have this daily or weekly practice where I'm going to come into growth day. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to think about, I'm going to do my life scores. I'm going to journal a little bit, but now, okay, I've done my reflection. I've done my planning, but now I need to take action. I need to practice. I need to learn something. I want to really challenge you to make sure that you are stepping into learning things that actually like move the needle for you. What are the things that you're learning right now that are actually going to be advancing your life, whether it's your relationships, whether it's any of the topics and put in the chat today? Like so many different things that we can be focused on because we're not all perfect and we don't need to be perfect, but we just need to be able to have a continuous growth mindset and know that you got to embrace new things and new things like our maybe our projects are constantly changing. Maybe our industry that we work in is constantly changing. Maybe the people or the relationships that we have are constantly changing. Like people are growing and some people are not growing. And that doesn't mean that you stop your growth. That doesn't mean you stop your ambitions and the things that you want to do and the things that you want to work towards. So I want you to first think about the things that you're trying to grow in, things that you're trying to learn, and think about when you are doing this daily, weekly. And then now that you like when it is, then it's like putting on that learning cap and that like lifelong journey cap. And you're like, okay, when I step in to this platform, I'm not just going to journal. I'm not just going to reflect, but I'm going to try to finish my growth loop. And my growth loop, the other two things that I need to do is I need to examine what I need to get better at. And I'm going to put in the time and practice to get better at it. So that is like why we have all these courses right here. So you don't have to go some other platform or other place like our YouTube or different places to be able to go and learn those things, right? It's at your fingertips. So you can come in, do some reflection, do some journaling, do some life scoring, and then it's jumping into like, okay, today I want to really level up the way that I have self confidence or the way that I want to communicate to my coworkers and team. Okay, what can I do there? Okay, I can go into the learn section and I can pull one of the relationships masterclass, or I can pull the relationships or team building or culture building masterclasses or replays that were just live. I want you to check those things first, but then it's like you have a plan to be able to tap into those and do that recurring training. I think like when I first started, when I first started developing myself and thinking about like how to get better at things, and you all do this probably naturally as well. You have a need, you have a want, you have a desire. I go get after it, right? We got to go do that work. And to do that work, we got to just have a little bit of necessity, like a little bit of knowing like why we want to learn, why we want to grow, why we want to do this. And then we step into it. We just do it. And that's what you get to do here. That's what we get to do. We get to learn inside this platform together. So you have different things that you want to improve on. You have different things that you want to learn, but there's so many different platforms today available for you to do those things, to do that learning, even outside of Growth Day. We got to know when you've got to do it, and you got to be able to make it a daily or weekly practice. Like it's just like working out or brushing your teeth or riding a bike. You've got to be able to make it a daily practice because you take a month off, you take 2 months off of doing any of your things that you're trying to learn. It can easily just fall into the wayside where it's just not an important thing for you anymore. So just wanted to give you those reminders. I know you guys all know this stuff, and it's like just a reminder that we're all growing, we're all learning, and we're all in the same boat trying to strive together. And I think it's just like a fun thing getting to do it together inside the platform. It's super fun. So you know that learning with growth days possible. You got these like weekly cues where you can experience growth with a whole community if you're a pro member. If you're a starter member and you haven't yet tapped into like social learning and you're doing it here today, and if you can't afford a pro account right now, a great way to do that is just to attend all of our sessions inside of growth groups. So let me just share my screen again, show you this. So I go into the learn pillar and I go to growth groups. All of these sessions below, from Tiffany, from Kevin, from Diane, from Danny's on our team, from Tiffany, Stacy, Tony, all of these strivers, these are all free growth groups, right? These are free sessions to come together and learn with each other. Now, if you're a pro member or a starter member, you get free growth groups for your first year. So you can come in and schedule a session. Even if you get like 2 people in the session, that's completely fine. Like, even if it doesn't matter like the magnitude of the group, what matters is the content. What matters is like what you're going to discuss. What matters is how you're going to be there for each other and grow together. This is the power of the Learn pillar here in GrowthDay app. Building a topic, it can be any topic that you're trying to grow in or trying to learn in. And if you want to go that next stage where you're getting some more of our tailored topics in personal development, then you can upgrade to pro to be able to attend these sessions live. And yeah, so you got free and you got free content and you got paid graded content. So you have a paid hosting account, and you can see if you have a paid hosting account, if you go into scheduling a growth group and it will say like, want to host more growth groups, you can click choose one of the hosting plans. We get 120 growth groups a year. You can host up to 100 participants in that group. You can schedule like recurring sessions. For that 149 plan, you can do 120 sessions a year. And then it's like pay as you go after you've complete all 120 growth groups. These are free growth groups right now. Like, you can attend these as many times as you want. And I think that's super important too. Like, I just wanted to make sure that I give you an overview of learning here at Growth Day. We talked about like social learning last week. We talked about the different growth group options. You have courses, you have the tie-in between the life score recommendations that give you those recommended videos. There's also opportunities to follow us on YouTube, on Growth Day on YouTube, where you get a lot of content there as well. But when it's outside the platform, you don't have your notes all in one place. You don't have your community in one place. You don't have growth groups in one place. So you can do all these things together inside the app, which is what we intended and what our intention was. So hope that makes sense, right? And just to recap on the growth loop in general, right? Growth loop is about how you tap into each of the growth areas in the platform. One place, right? You have your planning and reflection, which is like the first step in your learning journey, right? It's like reflecting on, how are things going? What's happening? You can journal about those. You can use any of the high performance prompts. And then after you do that, you can do a life score assessment, your daily, weekly, or monthly life score assessment. It's like, okay, how am I doing? How am I benchmarking where I'm at? And then you can go in after you do that to planning what it is that you need to do. What are the highest needle moving actions that I need to do to advance my growth? It could be a growth system of a list of things that you do every day, your morning routine or evening routine, or it could be like something that you do with your family. You set up this regimen, and this regimen really helps you stay focused on how you're going to build those new habits. And then you can track it through recurring events or reminders. You can do that inside the plan tool. And then after you go through reflection and planning, they got to get that practice in. Like, what are you going to be practicing? Or what are you going to be learning? And that is this figure 8 of tapping into reflection, tapping into planning, tapping into learning, and then tapping into practice. I just want to reinforce that is your learning growth loop. That is how you can have continuous growth. It's just super helpful. So another question here. So the question was, can you come into Growth Day to add a separate note, or would that be in the journal area? This is a great question. So the journal, you can write your notes inside of the journal and you can still search your journal anytime. You are working on, you just have standalone notes is what we call it. Standalone notes. That means if you wanted to take a note for the daily fire, take a note for the Monday motivation, which is a new thing that we also have for all access members only on Mondays. You can see Ed Milet. So if you really like Ed and his trainings and his motivation, it's a premium feature that for all access members only. Where you got the Daily Fire with Brendan every day. And then you have also this new level of training from Ed. We're going to be introducing standalone notes where you can take notes about those things. And those are really cool. And then you can also go to the notes section. You'll be able to add those there. That's something that's currently in design, which we're working on the designs and the UX for that. And then we'll soon figure out where that falls into the roadmap. But be sure to invite your friends, family, your teammates, get them into the platform. Any other questions that you have today about platform, about anything that you're getting stuck on or blocked on, whether it's using the app or whether it's just growth in general, or if it's just learning specific. Take your time. Any things that you're curious about with maybe how to use a specific part of the product or platform. I'd love to hear that. And while we wait for those questions to roll in, if you go up to the earn $100 in the very top of this panel, you can actually share a Growth Day referral link. Just enter in your PayPal, and then you can actually get $100 for every member that signs up for like a pro account. And it's pretty cool because you can get paid for people joining through your link if you're interested in joining a referral program. And reminders do get pushed if you have your push notifications turned on. They will show up on your phone, and if your watch is connected to your same account, you'll be able to see your push notifications, and that's really nice. There's also, like, from a learning perspective, like, thank you, Kim, for calling this out, is there's a whole entire community section. So community 7 is if you hit 7 on your keyboard or hit the little like face the 3 different icons, it's right underneath the learn pillar from icons on the far left side of your screen. If you click the community pillar, this is all of the community sharing tips, tricks, best practices, and putting them inside the platform. And we typically post, things that are happening, or if there's like celebrations or people new to the platform, and we're welcoming people into there. Community is just a great place to ask questions, get support, get help, and to just tap into your network of other strivers in the platform. So super helpful there. Does anybody want to even come up on stage, ask any questions, or if anybody else wants to come up here? Yeah. But Alita, what's up? What's on your mind today?
I I actually just wanted to thank you for what you do here and keeping me thinking. And yeah, I just wanted to say I appreciate it. And yeah, I also enjoy the community a lot. And I think I must do what you said with the lady being more intentional about what I need to learn and going to the learning section, the courses, and maybe just focusing on that. I also need to focus on my relationships a bit. I tend to start with a course, or I actually started with a few, and then I just fall in when I have the chance. I wash the dishes and I list. Uh, but yeah, I think it, it's really more helpful to maybe look at what I need at that time and being more intentional and maybe going to sit down and write down uh, what is being said, uh, questions, and journaling on it. I think it helps me a lot.
Mm.
I've been doing it for some time, but I think in the last few months I only realized, I've been doing it a bit better, I think. So, yeah, I just wanted to thank you for what you do and, keep it up. Thanks.
Uh, Thanks, Alita. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I Transformation Week challenge, you can go to the dashboard and see a banner. Click that banner to join this Transformation Week. This is with Brendan, 5-day challenge. We have 8 days left of Q2. And then we're heading into the second half of the year, 2023. I can't even believe it. It's 2023. What? It's crazy. So now we'll get to take all the accomplishments and learnings and things that we have done in the first half of the year, January to June. What did we accomplish? What did we achieve? If you are starting to think like you didn't achieve the things that you are wanting to achieve in the first half of the year, Don't beat yourself up over about it, but document it. Reflect on it. Like really take in, like, this is what I did and this is where I really wanted, what I wish I would have achieved, and then make that happen in the second half of the year. That can be your learning objective. Those can be your learning goals. And if you need like some super high performance coaching for this, then go check out that transformation week. It is free to join that challenge. If you go through and do that self evaluation of like what you accomplished in the first half, then think about, what do you want to achieve in H2? What are your growth areas for H2? Be specific about it, right? Like, why is it important? Like, we're going to keep hosting these growth groups and this is going to be super fun. I know that the second half of the year is going to be epic here at Growth Day. Like, we got some super exciting things coming. So I'm just really appreciate you all being here today. And I really appreciate Kim's got her hand raised. What's up? Hey,
I have a question and then I have suggestions as always, as you always do. Uh, the,
lay 'em
lear-
on me.
the learn section, the courses, I don't know who in here has taken any of them. I had a lot of growth to do in the first year. Those courses are amazing. So my first question is, how often are they going to be updated with like outside speakers? I know that Brendan's combining them into confidence and from the Wednesday wisdom, but like Dr. Amen and some of the other instructors in there, do you guys plan on expanding on that?
Our intention is to introduce at least like once a month something new to the platform. And we've been doing that with master classes so far. If there's certain gaps that you're seeing, like, I wish there was a content from X person or from this industry or about this specific topic, I think sharing that feedback is always really helpful for us. Uh, as of right now, it's really mapped to what we're hearing and seeing in the industry. And then we're trying to pick topics around that, like specifically like this month around company culture. Like, feel free to keep your feedback coming.
I love the idea of recording the growth groups because as a person who's trying to learn public speaking and expand in that area, it would be so valuable for me to be able to go back and watch it just so I can critique myself. But also, I think that's an outstanding idea. I think you guys are doing a great job. I love the updates that have happened recently. Like as soon as I saw the transformation week, I knew that, oh, this is new that they're posting this. So just want to keep cheering you on. You guys are doing a great. And I know many of these people in this group today, which the community connections are amazing. A couple are my accountability buddies. Uh, so thank you, Margaret.
Aw.
You're all so awesome. And I think that just the connections, just learning from one another here today, you're doing an outstanding job. So I just wanted to thank you.
Thanks, Kim. And I appreciate your contributions to the platform. Is make sure that you're getting the most out of this platform, that all the things that you can do to make this product your one-stop shop for personal development, making it a way of life, making personal growth fun and exciting and exhilarating. So just a real quick recap, because, we talked about a lot today. So we talked about the growth loop, how all the different elements inside the platform, you literally start from the journal, life scores, plan, challenges, learn pillar, and community. Just follow the path down the left sidebar of the app if you need guidance. The second thing, we have a new transformation week challenge. So if you really need a good reset, you really need a good reignite of what it is that you want to transform in your personal life, from how you think about, how you approach things, from growth, from what you're going to do, go through that 5-day challenge with Brendan. It's going to be life changing. Engage with community. And then the last thing that I want to call out is, you want to level up, tap into the courses, tap into the replays that we have for you every single week. And then just go through that list, pick a topic and go dive deep into it and get specific about what you need to learn and why it's important. Q2 is ending. So Q3 and Q4 is coming. So let's finish and start this second half of the year super strong. I'll see y'all in the next one. Have a beautiful rest of your day. All right. Later. See ya.